am Kitty Hollywood. The review today is 1939's The Cat and the Canary, starring Bob Hope, Paulette Goddard, Douglas Montgomery, a slew of other people. This is not to be confused with the 1927 version of The Cat and the Canary, or the 1930 version, or the 1978-79 version. This is the 1939, and in my opinion, the best. The film was a play. It was a play written in first produced in 1921 by John Willard, and it was one of a series of plays that came out around that time that have the old dark house feel very much to them. It's about an eccentric old man who insists that all of his remaining relatives gather 10 years after his demise to have his will finally read. They gather in a creaky old southern plantation in a bayou somewhere in Louisiana. Chaos ensues.
Spirits. They mean 7 may live. There are 8 people in this room. 1 will die before morning.
Oh, I feel pain! Yeah, well, it's been nice knowing you all, but honestly, it's hot in here. I have to get some air.
I don't want to alarm you folks, but...
But what?
I'm the head guard over at Fairview.
Fairview? The insane asylum?
Yes, ma'am. One of our patients got away from us this afternoon.
That's all we needed. Well, anyway, you'll feel right at home here.
Here's the switch. Won't switch. You want to go first?
Yeah. No. Certainly not. Ladies always go first.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I think it was awful funny what Miss Lou said about the spirits being all around you.
What's funny about it?
Well, I mean, I'm psychic, too. I was in a trance once.
I know. When are you coming out of it?
The film was put out by Paramount. It was directed by Elliot Nugent, cinematography by Charles Lang, produced by Arthur Hornblow Jr., costumes by Edith Head, the wonderful and magnificent. Okay, the film stars Bob Hope. This was Bob Hope before we know him as we do now. He was born in England. When his parents emigrated to the States, he became a performer. He went into vaudeville. He became quite a successful vaudeville star. He moved into radio after that, became a very famous radio star, and Hollywood got their eye on him, picked him up. Couldn't make a necessary fit for the films that they put him in, and this was one of his first and most successful feature-length films. This film set up Bob Hope's on-screen persona in many ways, that of a bumbling, hapless hero who accidentally gets thrown into the muck. He went on to play this for pretty much most of his career in his various film roles. He's best known for the Road series of films with Bing Crosby and Dorothy Lamour, Road to Singapore, Road to Zanzibar, Road to Bali, etc., and The Sarong. He's in The Pale Face with Jane Russell, my favourite brunette. Countless television appearances, 15 years of The Bob Hope Show. Bob Hope is also famous because he performed in countless USO shows in war zones throughout World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War. He was absolutely dedicated to performing for the troops who were in action. He also served as a United Service Organization's entertainment coordinator from 1941 to 2001 for 60 years. He's a very, very impressive individual. The Cat and the Canary also stars Paulette Goddard, who was 29 years old when she made this film. She started out as a child model performer, that sort of thing. I mean, one look at her and you can see why. She became a Ziegfeld girl and was introduced to various people who brought her to the attention of Charlie Chaplin, who cast her in Modern Times. She is the Gamin, and that kick-started her career and sent her soaring off into the stratosphere. She and Charlie Chaplin also became an item. This was ongoing throughout The Cat and the Canary. They were married. Very interestingly, Bob Hope once won a Charlie Chaplin impersonation competition, so there's a... yeah. Anyway, Charlie Chaplin was a slow worker. She was very interested in continuing her career. She got a role in The Women, starring Norma Shearer and Joan Crawford, a small but crucial role in which she shone in, and that certainly kicked her off into other directions. She was so close to getting the role of Scarlett O'Hara, interestingly enough. She was the first contender who had a Technicolor wardrobe test, which was pretty big things. Then Vivien Leigh came in and grabbed the role, and I think appropriately, honestly. I can't quite imagine Paulette Goddard as Vivien Leigh. She just, as Scarlett O'Hara, she just seems too nice. But she got The Cat and the Canary. It is, she's great in it. Her youth, her joy really brings the film to life. She went on to make a number of other films. This was one of her best ones. She made The Great Dictator with Charlie Chaplin. They subsequently divorced. She married Burgess Meredith, who is most famous for playing the Penguin in the Batman television series. And then after she was married to him, she married Eric Maria Remarque, who was the author of All Quiet on the Western Front. So she did pretty well for herself. She became known as one of the wealthiest women in Hollywood and became quite a socialite in the 1980s until she stopped. This film also stars Gail Sondergaard playing Miss Lou, the creepy Creole housekeeper, who actually works the comic timing very nicely as well. She was the first person to win a Best Supporting Actress Oscar, ever, for Anthony Adverse. She was married to a director, Herbert Biberman. He had communist leanings. She got caught up in the House Un-American Activities, as did he. He was blacklisted. He was one of the Hollywood 10, and as a result, she was blacklisted as well. The costumes, as I've said, done by Edith Head. Nothing particularly of note apart from Paulette Goddard's nightgown, which is to die for. More of a swanky evening gown than a nightgown. Great big huge spiky brooch, so I don't know about sleeping on your stomach. Anyhow, given that most women obviously went to sleep like this, it's not really that much of a problem. It's gorgeous, and she does accidentally swan about in it for most of the film. Bob Hope and Paulette Goddard worked so beautifully in this film together that they wanted to try and recreate that. They made another film very shortly afterwards called The Ghost Breakers, which I think is actually much more famous than this film, but they're equally as good. In my opinion, this one's maybe a little bit better. The Cat and the Canary, The Ghost Breakers, were the inspiration for Walt Disney's The Haunted Mansion ride in Disneyland. This play because it's of how it started, is one of the things that made the moving eyes behind the portrait thing a trope. The silently moving bookcase with the person disappearing behind it. All of these things were not necessarily standard before this point in time, and this play, which then led on to being filmed again so many times because of its success, and this film in particular, because it's the best version, really cemented this in the minds of audiences, and now these tropes are the things that they are today. It's great because it's funny and you are laughing at it, and actually genuinely laughing at it now, and at the same time 2 seconds later you go, oh god, and you can't help yourself. You just do it involuntarily, which is one of the things that makes this film so great.
I knew it. Joyce!
Joyce! Joyce, look here!
Wally! Wally, where are you?
the film, to my mind, has a little bit of everything. It's got crocodiles, it's got, or is it alligators? Anyhow, it's got a spooky bayou, it's got creaky stairs, disappearing things, you name it, and the laughs, and the mystery of the jewels buried in the garden, you name it. And it is quite timeless as well. There's hokiness to it, but you can't help but being pulled into the hokiness. And at 74 or so minutes worth of film, it's short and snappy, and you come out of it going, oh, that was great! So that is my wrap up of The Cat and the Canary. Yes, it is a VHS. I give this VHS 10 out of 10 because it's a really good film.